Disneyland Dining review time has returned. Hello, everybody. Wade for the Kingdom Report, hanging out with you once again to cover all the latest eats, treats, and delectable delights across the happiest place on Earth. It's so great to have you with us, and if you've not done so already, we always encourage you to hit the thumbs up button if you like what you see, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss anything that we produce throughout the week, including our live shows on Saturday. Here we are at Disneyland Park, ready to head in to grab ourselves a table service meal. A quick note about the theme park since they've returned in late spring of 2021. Many of the restaurants, many of the dining options here at the original Magic Kingdom and Disney California Adventure remain in sort of a slow roll capacity. So menus are not quite where they used to be in terms of offerings. A lot less is being offered at the restaurants in general for the sake of them being able to ramp up staffing appropriately and be able to serve the reduced capacity which are in the parks at the moment. So all things to consider, including Cafe Orleans, where we are at today, located just alongside the French Market and on the opposite side of the Blue Bayou. So Blue Bayou Restaurant, of course, being that beautiful restaurant tucked inside of Pirates of the Caribbean, and then French Market being the quick service restaurant just to the other side. Cafe Orleans is a place that is right along the busy, bustling New Orleans Square corridor. So most people are sat outside. There is an indoor portion to this restaurant, very small in scope. So most people get sat outdoors, which is perfectly fine on a California summer's day. It is a location that definitely has a lot of breathing room, a lot of big open space, and is one with a killer view, if I may add, not just of the dining area itself, and you feel completely immersed in the experience, but also of the nearby rivers of America. You see here a Cafe Orleans QR code that you are to scan to get your digital menu so that items can be brought to you. There's that view I was talking about. Can't beat that, right? So with everybody walking by in New Orleans Square, you also have the Mark Twain riverboat in the distance and Pirate's Lair at Tom Sawyer's Island off just beyond the waterfront there. So again, a stunning view to say the least. First up was my appetizer. Yeah, my starter, the La Salade de Maison. A house salad featuring mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, candied pecans, and goat cheese with a raspberry vinaigrette. This salad is one that I had a great time enjoying, perfectly crisp, very nicely chilled, especially on a warm California day. And in addition to that, the flavors themselves complemented each other perfectly in this environment. Huge fan of the goat cheese and especially having the candied pecans in there. So you've got your savory and your sweet sort of counterbalancing one another. That is one of the things that I always really like about salads that are prepared in this style. In fact, there was a restaurant near my house for years that had a very similar salad that I used to always go and get because I loved the counterbalance of flavors, and it was always so refreshing, and I didn't feel, like a slug afterwards trying to walk around because it was a giant salad, but it was basically leafy greens in my belly. So at any rate, the salad was fantastic. I enjoyed it a great deal, and freshly prepared made me think, all right, we're off to a good start here. We're doing quite well. And this is a location that has an awful lot going on around it. So it is a very loud atmosphere. Like I said, thousands of people walking by around the perimeter. So it's not a quiet dining experience, to be certain. It's very loud out here, but the ambiance of it all is pretty darn special. The entree arrived in no time, and it is the Bourbon Street Chicken. Yes, indeed. This is honey-kissed chicken with jasmine rice, seasonal vegetables, which today were the Brussels sprouts, and a hearty bourbon sauce. Yes, so you got your veggies being, in addition to the Brussels sprouts, of course, the carrots there. But you've got your delicious honey-kissed chicken with the jasmine rice. This plate came out awfully quick, and I will talk about that more here in just a second. This was something that it was piping hot in terms of the plate being almost too hot to touch, and they even warned me of that. Beautifully prepared, very nice presentation just in terms of overall aesthetic. I did dive in and grab myself some of that chicken right up front. Chicken ended up being very juicy, quite plump, and was a perfect serving in terms of size. Didn't think that there was anything wrong with this chicken. Sometimes when chicken is mass-produced in a theme park environment, it's hit and miss, but this chicken ended up being pretty good, as my friend Larry David would say. I then dove right on in to the jasmine rice. Now, this is, of course, rice. There's nothing unique to share about it. There's nothing spectacular about jasmine rice. I made sure I got the bourbon sauce on there for the sake of saturating the flavors, and it perfectly complemented the chicken and everything that I had just consumed. Went ahead and got myself some of the carrot here, and that ended up being delicious too, perfectly seasoned, and one that I thought, okay, I could eat all of these. This is pretty good. I feel like Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh right now. Yes, I do. And then I moved on over, of course, to these Brussels sprouts. This was probably the star of the plate. While the chicken was great, don't get me wrong, the way in which this was prepared, what with the spicy kick that was added to the Brussels sprouts, the seasoning overall that was located on the Brussels sprouts, I think also mixed with the bourbon sauce that kind of washed on into it. The Brussels sprouts ended up being spectacular. I know 5-year-old me would probably spit in my face right now and say, Brussels sprouts, what's wrong with you? I loved it. I thought they were great, and so would highly suggest Brussels sprouts for you if you have an interest in a meal like this. In just a matter of minutes upon finishing my meal, the check presenter had arrived, and it was time to see what damage had been done. Overall, you see their bourbon chicken costing me $21 for the entree plate, the soda $4.50. The salad was $6. I did get the Legacy Pass discount of $4.73, bringing my grand total to $28.84. So with the discount, it was very nice. I thought pretty reasonable. The soda prices, my goodness, now stretching all the way up to the $4.50 mark and heading towards that $5 mark. I think I'm going to be getting water from now on, quite frankly. The soda cost is now getting to a point where I do not want to purchase it anymore. It's just too costly, whether you get the refills or not. So definitely not for me. I think I'm going to go straight water. That's probably a lot healthier for me too. So straight water from here on out. But overall, the price for the meal, very good. I will say a couple of notes about the experience. The salad came out, almost instantly, which made me think, all right, this was sitting there in a chiller on standby. It was already prepared. And then I had somebody lurking. It wasn't my server, but it was the guy that brought me the salad. And he came over and he said, as I was in the middle of my salad, would it be okay if we brought you the chicken plate? I don't want to rush you, but the chicken's ready. I said, okay. And so he brought out the chicken, even in the middle of the salad, which tells me also this was probably sitting in a hot well or, was in a situation where it too had already been prepared and was ready to go. So in this environment, I think we're trying to work out the kinks and trying to understand what's going on at Cafe Orleans and these restaurants. I know that underground beneath these restaurants, there's a giant kitchen that services all of them. And I know that due to the pandemic and the way in which they've spaced out staffing, that likely this food is just being prepared in mass, kind of like it was before, but this is now, there's less attention to detail, and now it's just being mass-produced and pushed into sort of, sections where people can grab and go, and that's definitely felt in this environment. That's definitely felt in this dining environment. So I was in and out of here, like, within 15 minutes. This was the fastest table service meal of my life. My server, continually said, I don't want to rush you. Take as much time as you need. Can I get you refills? Can I get you drinks to go? He was perfectly fine. I've never had more food thrown at me as quick as I did here in a table service setting. So all things to consider if you are choosing to dine at Cafe Orleans in the near future at Disneyland Park. Once again, make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you appreciate what it is that we do, and this video, getting a thumbs up from you would mean so much. For the Kingdom Report, I'm Wade Heath. We'll see you next time for another edition of Disneyland Dining Review Time.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.